Good evening, people of God, or good evening, everyone. Let me use that word. I'm adding some church ethnicity. Pardon me. I'm used to that. I'm used to that already. So, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. First and foremost, let me first appreciate Elizabeth for having me today. Uh, it's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. All right, so I think I will just move ahead to discussion we have tonight. So today is going to be discussing about art of seamless handoff, and the session will be in two folds. Will be in two folds. We're going to do some little, I call it housewarming, more like a little, little information here and there about design handoff. Then we'll now go into the practical aspects. So that's what's going to look like tonight. So let me just kickstart because I think our time's fast spent. So how many hours do I have for this? So I know. I can hear you. I can hear you. 1 hour. Okay. 1 hour. Okay. I'll try and stay within that time frame. Okay, let's start. Let's kickstart. Okay. All right. So welcome to today's session. Uh, an art of seamless handoff. I don't know if you can see my screen. Am I sharing already? Okay. Okay. So topic is art of seamless handoff, and I added the little subtitle, bringing or bridging the gap between design and development with ease. So I think Elizabeth already introduced me, so I don't need to introduce myself again. So let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Okay, so what we have in our outline are just few. What is design handoff? Why is it important? What are the core pillars? What are the key elements? What are the tools for design handoff? Best practices, pitfalls, and we draw a conclusion to this presentation. So let's go ahead. So now, what is design handoff? What is design handoff? So let's kickstart. So design handoff is the process of transferring design assets, specification, and guidelines to developers, ensuring a smooth transition from design to implementation. Also, it is also about clarity, context, and collaboration, ensuring design vision becomes usable reality. So I think this is straightforward. This is crystal clear. Just to add a little things to what I'm going to share here. Handoff is not just about throwing your Figma file to the developer or sending a prototype link to the developer. It is more than that. It is about clarity. It's about the context. It's about collaboration to ensure that you have a design that works. Most designers just share their prototype link and you go to sleep, sit in their couch, sit in their bed and say, "Oh, developer, I can't start this doing the work." No, it doesn't start like that. It doesn't work like that. You need to constantly have that constantly have that collaboration, constantly have that communication when you're designing or when you're trying to collaborate effectively with the developer. Now, there's a quote that I will want every one of you to really take notes. You can write it in your notepad, your iPad, or any pad that you have. The quote is from Brendan Lauren. She says something there that design is not finished until somebody is using it. I think I will elaborate on this a little. So when you are designing, don't think that, oh, you have designed your work on Figma. No. Yes, you have done your part on Figma, but until people start using that particular product, that design hasn't ended. That design hasn't ended. So it's not finished. So it's until somebody starts using it, it's until users start kind of using your product, using your application, using your website before you say that, oh, I am done finally with design. So let's move ahead. Importance of design handoff. So what are the importance? Ensure accurate implementation of the design vision, reduces development errors and misunderstanding, improve product consistency and quality, save time and cost in the long run. What do I mean by all this? If you ensure accurate implementation of the design vision. So that means that what you have designed, the developers must implement it pixel perfect or verbatim. There's no form of errors, there's no form of inconsistencies when it comes to the design. So you have to ensure that it has accurate implementation, it reduces development errors and misunderstanding. Most times, I've heard of this phrase over time that what I designed is not what I ordered, or what you order is not what you designed per se. And sometimes what you have a very clean, good looking interface, but developer will just water down that design, in which you yourself be shocked that this is my design or it's what developers are doing on their own end. So to cut short of all those rifts and back and forth, you need to make sure that as much as possible, collaboration and communication is very important when we are doing handoff. So let's move ahead. Core pillars of design handoff. So I will call these the 4 C's. If you can write it, you can write that down too. 4 C's. Communication, clarity, consistency, and collaboration. These 4 C's should be in your fingertips when you're starting off design handoff. Communication, early and ongoing. Do not just say that, oh, I'm done with the design, and you just give the developer the Figma file. The communication should start from the onset. To start when you're designing your wireframe, user flow, and all those stuff. Rather than just saying, oh, I'm done with the design, you just throw the Figma file or Figma link to the developer. No. There must be a communication from the onset. There must be communication. Now, clarity. The specs, that specification, the behaviors, and the edge cases. These are very, very important. Most times some designers just design a particular interface and they don't take cognizance of all these edge cases. Now, what do you mean by edge cases? Like error state, loading screen, success message, success modal, loading, and so on and so forth. These are kind of edge cases. Most times designers don't include that on your Figma file. They just design at arm stretch like that. But when you're trying to design, ensure that there is clarity in your work. Because if there's no clarity in your work, developers will press your neck. We will press your neck on a daily basis. But ask you, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? Okay, we have consistency using design systems. Collaboration, not just handoff, but partnership. Like I said earlier, collaborate with each other. Don't do a solo effort. Don't go in solo or go in a solo partnership, but go in the form of you collaborate together to ensure that this design becomes implemented word for word, pixel perfect, and so on and so forth. That is for core pillars. Now let's go to the key element of design handoff. So what are the key elements? Organized file with naming convention. And on the practical aspect, you will see kind of naming convention that we do on some files I have on my Figma file personally. Organized files with naming convention. Most of us designers, I don't know if we're so much in a hurry, our file names are just kind of inconsistent. Let me use that word. What's supposed to be signed up to Apple frame 1052.
Exactly.
Or you will see a login screen, you see frame maybe 10,067. That's not really a good naming convention. So as much as possible, you must consistently name your frames, name your component. Some component you just see maybe something around group 1010. Like, what is that? So you must consistently name your frames. Name your component. Now go on to visual specs, spacing, fonts, color. These are very important. These are part of your design system. You must have all those things put into place. Interaction, documentation. Oh, the hover state, the tap, the scroll. You need to have that included. Now, speaking about the states, empty state, loading, error, sources. I spoke about that earlier, just like the edge cases. You must have those things included. Then the assets in SVG, in images, all of them should be exported. Then responsive behavior. Let's assume that I'm designing a web app or designing a website. We must also showcase the responsiveness of that particular application. Must have it in mobile, must have it in tab, must have it in desktop. Most times designers just design website, they don't think of including a mobile responsiveness. Maybe later on now in the developer now ask, oh please, where is the mobile responsiveness for this website? It's your job to do that as much as possible. So let's endeavor to include that also. Design tokens, as if you have a design system, then written documentation or walkthrough. This is very, very vital. Like I said, don't just throw your Figma file to the developer and say you are done. No, walk them through each of those instances on your design. Oh, when I'm logging into the platform, what happens? Will there be an animation? Will there be a delay before I go into the onboarding screen? Or what happens in that moment? So you need to have that walkthrough with them consistently. So that is for key elements. Now let's go to the tools. We have diverse tools for design handoff. We have Figma, we have Sketch, we have Adobe SD, we have other collaboration tools like Zeppelin, Avocode, Abstract. Then for project management, we use Jira, Trello, and even Asana. And documentation tools, we have Confluence, Notion, and Google Doc. So in terms of the tools, for industry standard, I think Figma is more or less the umpire of all. That's what most of us use to hand off. Most of us use to send your Figma file or send your prototype link to developers. In terms of collaboration tools, sometimes some people use Zeppelin, but most developers might not understand Zeppelin. Zeppelin is another tool that you can also use to hand off. But most times, some developers might not understand Zeppelin. Project management, that is Jira, Trello, Asana, documentation tool. We have Notion and Google Doc. These are tools used to document all your handoff processes. In terms of your specifications, in terms of your behavior, in terms of all that information that you need to include. So let's move ahead to the best practices for design handoff. So I'm going to stay here a little bit. Start handoff early. Collaborate continuously. This is very important. For all designers, start your handoff early. Don't wait till when you're done with your design before a handoff. Start your handoff early. Involve developers early in the design process to build shared understanding. Like I said earlier, you must engage them early in the design process. When you are starting off the design, involve them early, because developers can have a fair knowledge about the product you're trying to design. Because sometimes there can be a technical constraint in which developers might tell you, oh, this might not work, this might work. So if you involve them earlier, you reduce their error time in designing. So that's for it. Then don't wait until the final design to share progress iteratively. That's already. Don't wait until the final design. Involve them from the onset. Let them know what you're doing. And as much as possible, share walkthroughs too. So that they are also on the know and they know, okay, these are some of the areas that will not work, that's the things that will work. So the second one is organize your files clearly. I can't emphasize this. Naming convention must be crystal clear as possible. Provide detailed specification into your spacing, font size, interaction, responsive behavior. All this is really required when you are handing off. Then document user flows and edge cases. This is also very important. Communicate context and intent. Share the why behind your design choices. Clarify goals, user needs, and constraints to reduce misinterpretation. Plan for feedback and iteration. So you need to be available on post handoff for questions and clarification. Don't just go and ghost out that, oh, I have done necessary handoff, I have annotated, I've measured everything, I've done this, I've done that, and just go to bed and sleep. No. Be available for post handoff, because developer will ask for clarification. They might ask, oh, how does those error state work? Oh, how does this transfer transaction history work? How does XYZ of a feature work? They likely ask questions because they want to ensure that they are designing or they're implementing that design in accordance to what is being worked upon on the Figma file. Then set up a shared channel or schedule design dev sync. This is very important. Don't just go and ghost on them. Have sessions with them, have demo sessions with them, have a walkthrough with them, let them know that, oh, okay, this and this and this and what is happening. And once they haven't done with the implementation, in case they share the APK or in case they share the website link, it determines what platform you're trying to build or design. Make sure you test it also. You need to test that application so that you can spot out errors or spot out inconsistencies on that particular implementation that has been done by the developer. It's also very important to do that. So those are some of the best practices to have. Then what are the common pitfalls to avoid during design? Now, incomplete or unfinalized design. We have a lot of designers that does this every time. Most of us, we don't finalize our design on time or don't complete our design in full, and we'll just hand off every information to them. And later on, the developer will start asking, oh, where is the login screen? Oh, where is the about screen? Where is this? Where is that? That shouldn't be so. You need to ensure that every part of your designs are completed and ready for development. So it's very important to have that. Then lack of context or user intent. Don't just have a handoff screen without explaining the why behind decisions. Then poorly organized design file, ignoring edge cases and states. So those are areas that common pitfalls that will happen, especially when it comes to handoff. So you must ensure that your designs are completed, you have unorganized design files, and you also try to ensure that you include those edge cases and states on your designs. So here is to just draw the curtain for this slide. Like I said, it's the practical session will come here after. So what are the closing remarks or the conclusion or the concluding part of this presentation? Design handoff is a relationship and not a transaction. I will say write that down somewhere on your notes. Design handoff is a relationship and not a transaction. It's not beans and is it beans and bread or what? Maybe I buy something outside. It's not that. That's not it. It's a relationship. You have to build that form of relationship with them. Then clarity over perfection. A clear, well-documented design are more valuable than pixel-perfect screens. If you're able to document all this properly, it's far, far better than a pixel-perfect screen. Documentation matters when you're handing off. The design does not end at handoff. Design doesn't end at handoff. So be available for follow-up, iteration, for implementation support. Stay involved during development to preserve design integrity. Like I said earlier, be available. Do not ghost them, because this particular design will be implemented and people start using it. You want to ensure that every of those details you have on the design also is similar to, or more or less the same as what you have in the development aspect. So ensure that, so we have to take of this information. Handoff is a relationship, not a transaction. It's not about Atarodo and Pepe or Tomato and Pepe. No, it's a relationship, because you must constantly have that conversation back and forth with developers. So here's how I will draw the curtain on this presentation. Now we're going to move over to the practical aspects. So, but before I move on, do we have any question? Do you have any question?
questions? Any questions?
Any question before I move on to any question? Please.
Okay.
Okay. Seems there's no question.
All right.
So give me a moment. Let me move off to. Okay, no question. All right. I believe everyone understands that. So that's just a little.
Can I ask a question?
Feel free. Hello? Yes, feel free.
All right. Okay. So the handoff process is everything designers do in order to make sure that they transfer the properly to the designer, to the developer rather. Could you hear me? I'm actually on the road, so okay. I don't know if it's the network. Yeah, but my question is just to get some to be sure that I got what you communicated clearly. So the design handoff is all the processes that the designer does in order to ensure that they transfer their designs and the expectations properly to the developer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think I didn't get the question. So, you can reiterate.
Okay. I'm actually driving, so maybe I will type later on once I get.
Okay. So what is asking?
All right.
Let me know if I pass your question properly. He's asking that he wants to understand like the summary of what you have presented. What you are trying to tell them that design handoff, like the meaning of design handoff, is the processes that goes on from a designer to hand off their designs and expectations to the developer. So he's asking for clarity, right? Did I ask?
Yes. That's it. I just wanted to be sure that that's what you said. That's because I'm not a designer, but that's the understanding I have. Yeah. So you're right. That's the question.
Okay. Yes. So you're absolutely right on that part. So when it comes to handoff, it's more or less those digital transfer of your design to a developer and do necessary support. Okay, I think someone have answered it already for me. Guidance. Okay. Let me just add to what Taylor just said. So it's about ensuring that all those files are properly documented. All your assets are properly exported. You have a design system properly done, and other information that you need for the developer to easily work around implementing it. So it's more or less an overview of that particular design. Sometimes we can also add user flow in order to guide the developer so that they know, okay, from sign up, they go to they enter the information, they go to home, from home they go to other features of that particular product. So that is much about it. So it's more or less a guide for developers to ensure that all this information, all the designs we have done are well documented and they can easily implement it as what is seen on the Figma file. I hope that gives a more clarity on it.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go to the practical. Okay, do you have something to say?
Yes. Do we have any other question from anybody? Okay, before we go into the about Figma. Okay, Taylor, would you like to unmute to ask your question? Oh, he said, what is Figma? Then Taylor is asking, what is Figma?
Okay. What is Figma? All right. Figma is a software tool where designers use to design interfaces like mobile application, website, and web app. Yeah, yeah, it's a tool. Just like what you have on VS Code. For developers, VS Code is your tool to implement design, implement your codes and other stuff. Figma for designers is a industry tool to design their mobile application and the rest.
Yeah.
Hope that is clear.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I wanted to. I don't know if I'll get a chance to still say this, but before we go into the practical, I'd just like to add a few things to what there are some things that I picked when Ben was talking. He talked about naming of layers, and he talked about responsive design, and I just wanted to like buttress on it for the designers that are here. I've worked with a lot of people from various levels, even some senior designers they do it here, whereby they don't name their layers. Like if you don't name your layer, you're not doing it right. And thank God,
Yeah.
Figma has made it easy. They added this AI to where you can just click on it and they tell it to rename your layers for you, and then it will
Exactly.
rename your layers for you neatly. Like I think I learned about this layer thing from my first year of designing, because the person I was working with then, if you don't, my senior designer at that time, if you work with him, like it's like there's a way it tampers with his brain in a way. He just when he sees frame 1000 and something something, it's not okay. Do you get?
So some have group something. I say, what is that?
Yes, he will come and say, listen, 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 listen,
Ah,
listen. What's this? Please, please come and name all these layers. So that was where I learned it. And then when I started renaming my layers, I understood the importance of it, because
yeah.
like it works. It works for you. You can use it like your in fact you will make your what's it, your developer's life easy, because they see those layers
Hmm.
too. You know, if they want
Hmm.
to export something out now, they'll be exporting something in frame 1000 and something. They're not going to be looking for it in
Hmm.
their folder, you know. So please, if you are one of if you belong in this on this table, please let's make the extra effort to be renaming our layers. Then you also mentioned something about responsive design. A lot of people design their websites and then they don't design the responsive views, and then they leave the
Yeah.
developers to go and figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a good attitude to work, because we are here, we're saying we are designing experiences. I'm like, in fact, when they check somebody else's Figma, you see I design special experience. The Oyinbo song, it will be paying, but your work is not in
Ah,
sync with the English that is on your profile. You know,
yeah.
design the
Yeah.
responsive view. It's part of the experience that you are designing. Don't give it to the developer to go and figure it out. You know, some people will design web view that even they themselves they don't know the mobile view of it, and then you let give it to your developer to go and figure it out. You know, it doesn't work like that. You also mentioned something about tools, Zeppelin, Avocode. I'm aware of Zeppelin. I've used it before, but I also want to mention to you that if you are working in an organization, it is very important that you get clear approval from the team on the tool to use. You can recommend tools to them
Yes.
and tell them the importance of it. Some organizations don't know that there are tools that you can use for handoff. Those tools, they'll put the ruler, they'll put the margins, everything. They'll put it there. Like once the developer is going there, they are seeing the specific spacing, margins that you have used, and then they'll also be able to export the assets from those
Yeah.
tools, right? So you can check them out and recommend them to your organization. And if you work on yourself alone, some of these tools are not free. Some are free. If you can afford it, you can pay for it. If you can't, you can find another way to hand off your platform, like renaming your files, ensuring that your spacings are accurate. Figma introduced a new tool for rulers. You can now add rulers in your designs now, where the same thing those tools do for you. The spacing, specifications, and everything will be showing right on the file for developer to easily see. So you can. He also mentioned something about you don't have to wait till the end of your project before you hand off, right? You can hand off in milestones, right?
Yes.
So, for instance, you have designed the sign up page and you are moving to the home and the profile. If you are sure that you have done everything about the authentication, sign up, sign in, forgot password, reset password, and they are fine, you can tag it ready for dev. right? You can tag it. It's in Figma. There's a feature for that in Figma. Ready for dev, for the developer to know. Okay, this guy is ready for development. And then the other part, they will not even mind coming to, because even me as a designer, I don't like it when I'm designing on a file and this one I'm seeing arrow of one developer up and down on the on the frame I'm working on. I can do like this. Chicken, what are you people looking for? You are distracting me. But if you are already put ready for dev in that part, they will not bother you on your own section. You can continue what you're doing and then let them be figuring the one that you have tagged ready for dev. So you can communicate this to them and let them know that the ones I tagged ready for dev are the ones you should concern yourself with. The other ones, leave them to me for now. I'll let you know when they are ready. you know so that's that. We have that feature. You can explore it in case you have not. Then screen recording. I think you mentioned something about showing them the flow. I recently designed screens for a dev. I don't know his level, right? But I had some interactions and he didn't have them. Like, so when he was presenting these developments and I saw that I wasn't seeing those stuff there. So I reached out to him, like blah blah blah. So he didn't know that he could present the design I gave to him to see, like, to see the prototype. Probably was he's just working with Figma for the first time. Who knows? If I didn't reach out to him, I wouldn't have known. I would be there crying and be shouting, "Hey, what I designed was what I got." So I had to show I had to show him that um you can always present every frame to see if there's any interaction, right? And speaking of interaction, if you use any external assets, please send the links to your developers. If you use external asset like icons, last session we talked about React icons. That React has a list of icons that you can use that is easy for your developers to access. It's not that you just go and carry one icon from Google and just download and put it in your design and be expecting developers to. Sometimes those things don't work. Like, they don't work very well, right? But if they have direct link to it, they'll be able to call it directly without even downloading. And if they want to download, fine. That's them. That's what they want. But send them the link. This particular person, I noticed I was not using any of the icons I used. He was not using any of it. He was not even using the font that I use, even the font size. So I had to, like, reach out and, like, okay, what is the problem, right? And then I started showing him everything. So that's part of the process of handing off, you know. And then I sent him the icons, like, okay, so you're having difficulty with it. This is where you can get it directly from. Other animated stuffs or asset I use, I sent him link to them. So please, let's share this external asset. Let's not feel like, oh, I don't want them to know where I got it from. No knowledge, you are not the owner of the knowledge. Thousands of people are aware of it. Okay, that's why at the beginning of this session we started with tools that you have learned. Share with us. Some people don't want to share knowledge.
So stop hoarding knowledge, guys.
Yes,
Stop hoarding it.
yes.
Ah,
You don't want them to know where you got the idea from or the inspiration from. They will see it eventually. Even if you share with, it doesn't change the efficiency of your work. It shows that you know what you're doing and you are trying to, like, ensure that they do their own job to write. If I design a website that has interactions and stuff, and my developer is finding it difficult to access or to grasp, I share them. Okay, Nana, I'm coming. I share them link to the website I got that inspiration from. And what I will tell them that go and inspect their code and see what they did. Maybe to give you an idea of what to do on this one. So guys, let's not be ordering where we got inspiration from. Inspiration is everywhere
well,
on the internet. Nothing is new in this life again. If I should use an icon pack, if I should use an icon pack in Figma, can developer access it? Yes, the developer can access it, but how did you use the icon pack? Did you bring it in? Would you like to unmute and let us know how to answer that question properly?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. So I'm asking, I think you were talking about, you mentioned something like it's a React icon. So I was thinking of it like where let's say I use an icon pack, say something an icon pack like view sacks for the designs I did. So in that way, is it that I have to share the whole pack, like maybe a link to the icon pack with the developer, or the developer can just see the icons directly from my how do I say it?
From your Figma
Directly
file.
from my designs. Yes, exactly.
So,
That's what I wanted.
okay, thank you for the question. So, two ways. Developer can actually um, get the icons directly from your Figma file. They can export them if they want. At the same time, for a double step, you can send them the link to icon sacks. The one you're mentioning is icon sacks, right? View,
Yeah,
Users,
view
yes,
users.
icon sacks, yes. You can also send them the link too, so that they can see it. So you can, so the developer will now then choose which one is much easier for them to work with. So that way it's
All
better.
right. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Then the last one, I think I already mentioned everything. Send them links to the external assets that you are using, the animation where you got the idea from, the inspiration from. Share it with them. It will make work easier. Don't hold knowledge. No inspiration or idea is new again. Like there's no new idea. Something you are thinking about, somebody has done it like 10 years ago. You know. So let's make work easy for our developers. So thank you very much. Um,
Let me add on. Let me add on to this.
okay.
Okay, so for like animations, like your Lottie files, some face or other external ones you just imported to Figma, try as much as possible to make those, when you're exporting the files, ensure it's on a JSON file. I can remember vividly when recently when I just I did a confetti animation. That's a success message that showcased that oh, maybe the transaction has been successful and all those stuff. And the developer was asking for that particular confetti animation. So what I did then was to export it as a JSON file in which he can easily access it and easily import it to his VS Code or whatever software tool he is using at the spot. So whenever you have maybe little effigy on the application like your confetti, maybe success message, error, let's say error, animation, and the rest of them, try as much as possible to export it as a JSON file in which they can easily access it and they can now implement it on their own code base.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So over to you. Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, so all right, let's kickstart the practical aspect. Share my screen. All right. All right, please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yep, I can.
Sharing.
Yes.
So, okay, so this is just like a dummy, or should I say, fictional design I did. So, just using a few screen to itemize all this information so that everyone get clarity on how you can easily handle. So, first and foremost, we'll have a list of things I would like to practicalize here. First and foremost, your naming convention. Secondly, how to use what's the word now? To identify edge cases, how to annotate the annotations, measurement, dev mode, etc., etc. Those are things you get to learn here. So now let's start with the naming convention. Like we rightly said earlier, avoid having to name your frames as frame 1052 something 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 group something something something. Let's try to name your frames. But first and foremost, let's start with the page. Now, when it comes to page nomenclature, make sure you name it in this kind of format. First and foremost, you have a cover. This cover here just give a proper information about what the product is all about. I'll include clearly the product name. You can have some little information about what this particular product is. Why? So that we can, just to give kind of clarity on the page file itself. Then you can have your style guide and assets. So you can have all these assets placed on this particular design. This is a fictional project, like I said. There are multis that I've included, but I just want to show you some things around the handoff. Then we have the mobile design. Also, we can, this is my design per se, done in Figma, high fidelity wireframe, blah, blah, blah. Then also, let's add one more page, which is called Bean. Now, if you're working on large projects or large files, you need to ensure you have a page on itself called trash or bin. I'll tag it as bin. Why? Because in your communication with the product team, or even as far as development itself, you should, there might be some changes that may occur. There might be some iterations that may occur. So rather than say, oh, maybe they might tell you, oh, change this, maybe change this email address to something else, or change this confirm new password to something else. Just as a case study, you should be able not just to just make the changes immediately here. Rather, you can take this particular screen, copy it, and drop it at your bin. Why? Because there might be some situation that you might reference it back again. You might likely reference that back again in your designs. So that is really the essence behind that. So you need to make sure you have that there as much as possible. Now let's go into screens nomenclature. If you look at what I did here, we have here splash screen. I added it here. Some people we have their own as frame 1050 something. This is how people's naming convention is. Well, this is the wrong approach, because automatically you are telling developers that this is the frame. But to me, I don't know what the name of the frame is. So ensure you name your frame. So you have to make it as what? Splash screen. Yeah, splash screen. So you need to properly name them. Now, in terms of file organization, if you look at this now, yes, you might think that, oh, it's properly arranged. But in the mind of a developer, they don't know how the journey of the particular flow is. In a moment, okay. You know how the journey of the particular flow is at the moment. So you can see this. Yeah, see. So how do we now make these particular screens much better? Now there's a way we can sectionize it. You need to have your element in sections. Now this is the header, more like Digimoney designs. Now for this now, I can now carry all these screens. Let me hide this. Oh, sorry. You can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not on the meeting link again. So okay, so this is how we do it. You have your splash screen, you have your onboarding, you have your other flows like this. You can just group all of them and make them as a section. Sectionize them. Make them as a section. Voila. So this is it. Now, here now I'm going to rename this frame again as splash screen, or let me just call it onboarding. Let me use onboarding as a guide here. Onboarding. So here we have the designs here. So I've kind of break them down in sections so that whenever a developer sees this, they know this is for onboarding, this is for login, this is for sign up, this is for homepage, this is for transaction details. So we now have all these designs placed right here. I have all the designs placed right here. Yeah. So this is how to really sectionize your design. So you see, if you look at what I did now, I sectionized it and I renamed the title to be onboarding, and also here all my frames I named them again. Why? Because I want developers to have a clear understanding of this particular design that has been done or created. So that's what you have here, onboarding. Now, if I'm to do this now, I have create account, create profile, email verification, and all this information. I can also group this together as a section too. So let me drag all this further down. I need it going down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Now let's get my sections again. Now, how do you access the sections? Just come here. You will see frame, you see section, you see slides. I'm thinking of section. So I'm going to grab all this in. Okay. Yeah. Then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to rename this to create profile. So create profile, we harbor your email verification, the what's the word now? What's it again? Other information per se, selfie capture, and the rest of them. So that is how I was able to do this. So create profile will come in somewhere here. And the last one is home. So now I'm going to separate this now, because home and transaction details are different pages on your design. So this will go off somewhere. Take this somewhere. Then I'm going to make this as a standalone. We'll make this as a standalone. So now I'm going to make this as a section. Hope you're following. Make this as a section.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry. Then I'm going to name this as home page. Now, see the way I'm structuring my designs now. You see that I'm sectionizing all of this information in create profile, you put them together. Home page, put them together. Now, for this now, for transactions and information, I'm going to now sectionize this again and have it in this format. Let me click on it. Now, this is what we have as transaction with details or history. Let me use history as a case study now. So these are information for transaction history. So you see that I've sectioned all my information. Earlier, it was just that all my designs are just going left, right, and center. I don't even know which is home, which is splash screen, and the rest of them. But now I've done it in such a way that it's now being sectionized. Now, the last one is login screen. So if I'm to do this now, I'm going to make this a section. Sectionize this again. Yeah, so this, then name this as what? Login screen. Login screen. So you can see that automatically I've sectionized this in such a way that it is crystal clear on these are the reference pages on for where developers will begin to implement their designs. Now, earlier, Elizabeth was talking about have them ready for development and the likes. So this is how you can do it. Now, for this section here, when you click on it, you will see this. Is it, how do you call it in code again? I've forgotten my code level. A bracket. Let me use a bracket as a case study. I learned HTML before, so I've forgotten this already. So we have it here like this. So now if you click on it, you see here, you hover and you see mark as ready for dev. Let's assume that my splash screen and onboarding is already ready for implementation. I've done everything. I've already streamlined every information that needs to be worked upon. And what you need to do here, just click on it and you see here, ready for dev. When you see this already, automatically developers can now start implementing all these informations that you have here. You can start implementing information you have here. Let me allow this to center. Yeah. So that is about it. So now let me move over to, I'll touch base on dev mode. That will likely be the last thing I will share. Now I'm going to speak in regards to annotations and the likes. Now, as much as possible, for every designer here, let's make sure we add notes. It's very important. Let's make sure we add notes as much as possible. Do not just assume that developers know what they expect to do. Now, let's assume that this screen now from here to here, there is a little animation now, or maybe a delay. You need to document it that, oh, when a user moves from the splash screen to the onboarding screen, there will be a delay. How do you do that? Figma has updated, on the new updates from Figma now, we have a place where you can make annotations. And I will show you that. For those that might not know, when you come over to this area, you have here comment. When you click on comment, on the drop down, you have here annotations and new measurement. You see that Figma is now becoming more like a dev tool now than even a design tool. So that's how I see it. Then you can have here annotation. Now you can come here now, include it here, or maybe include it on this page, either way. And you have your categories. When you click on this drop down, we have for development. So you are addressing development team. Now you can see that, oh, when a user, write a note here, when a user taps or clicks on it, clicks on the screen, there should be a delay of maybe 300 or 400 milliseconds. That is, 400 milliseconds before moving to the onboarding page. See this? So this is how you can make annotation. So before they make the updates, other times you can just bring a frame. Just bring a frame somewhere and just draft it somewhere here. Okay, let me reduce this. Just bring a frame, you add it here, and you write a note. That was before, but now you have a note here. So when a developer comes here now, they can easily just see this, that, oh, when the user taps or clicks on it, there should be a delay of 400 milliseconds before moving to the onboarding page. Automatically, they know what they're expected to do when the transition happens from the splash screen to the onboarding page. I hope you're still following.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Faith, somebody is raising there. Faith, do you want to ask a question or is that a mistake?
Okay.
I think you can continue.
Huh? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm asking, how do you hand over prototype? Example, I did a prototype animation for the splash screen, and my stakeholder in Figma that we want to implement. How do you ensure that the developer gets it? In Figma, you can do micro interaction with variables and all of that. How do you explain all of that to the developer in such a way that they'll be able to replicate that same thing in code? I don't know if you got my question.
Well, your line was breaking, but I think I get a handful of your question. Okay, so for that, you need to have a walkthrough with the developer. It will guide them through the journey into that micro interaction and the rest of them. Yeah, there might be some assets you might like to share with them, as if it is maybe a animation and the likes. But if it's something that is embedded in Figma, you need to give them a walkthrough. And also, like what I did here, annotation is very important. You to also give them that that annotation, those comments on it that, oh, when the user moves from splash screen to their body, there will be an animation or there will be a transition of maybe 400 milliseconds delay with XYZ information. So all these things, you need to document it down as much as possible. That's why documentation is key. And a good place to do that is this annotation we have here. You have to write all this information down. Also, do a walkthrough with the developer. So that is very, very important. Do a walkthrough that, oh, please, you see this, there's been interaction, and write all those specifications down for them so that they know what they're expected to implement on the development side of things. I hope that answers your question. Can you hear me? Okay, okay.
I can hear you.
Can I add to it?
Feel free to add.
Okay. Ben mentioned something earlier where he said if the interaction is like maybe an animation, you might want to export it as a JSON file. So when you export it as a JSON file, they have the code and then they just paste it in their code directly. So it makes life easy for them. That's if it's that kind of interaction that you can export, right? And if it is something that is like just embedded in the Figma file, right, that you cannot export, you can just do a screen recording to show them, or you just jump on a call with them and show them the interaction. Also, if there's a place like maybe you got the idea or the inspiration for something that is close or similar to it, you can share it with the developer to go and see those maybe already existing similar interactions. So possibly it might be able to maybe inspect or Google it or something that will give him an idea of how he is meant to implement the interaction that you have just given to him. So that's the addition that I'd like to add. I don't know if that works.
Okay, but I don't know if there's a way to maybe a plugin to export animation as well.
Yes, there are quite a number of plugins you can use to export animations as JSON files, and it will give you the code. I can't remember one at the moment, but you can just Google it.
Let me interject here.
Okay.
For like for animations now, I'm thinking in case we use like Lottie file, there is a way you can easily export it as a JSON file. Like I made mention earlier, a confetti or a error animation, something in that regard, or an email animation sort of, maybe email verification or something of that nature. If you're using a Lottie file, you can easily export it as a JSON file. Let me see if I can even do something. Let's see if I can see something here. So Lottie files. Okay. Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen. Okay. Like all these ones I did this earlier in my work. I see all this confetti you have here, like email GIF. Now, if I want to export this now, first and foremost, hold on, where is it? I'm looking for where I can export it. As a GIF. Okay, download animation. So you can see this. We have here optimized Lottie JSON. Everyone can see this.
Yes.
Can see this, download animation, Lottie JSON, optimized Lottie JSON, and so on and so forth. So if I'm to send this now to developers, I'll have to use this, download it. I have to download it. I don't know if it's free. Tell me to upgrade. Okay.
I think the one you clicked on is not free, but the first one is free.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's the premium plan. So you can see now I downloaded it and it's showing me save to this. Like click on save. I have it earlier, I'll just release it. Simple. So You just have to, from there, just share the link to them. They will just pick it up and drop it on their code. It's as simple as that. That's if it's a Lottie files. But I'm thinking about maybe other animation that is outside of Lottie. I think there is a way to do that conversion. I can't remember for now. But I think there's a way you can do that too. You can export it as a JSON file.
Okay.
But I can't really wrap my head on that for now. Yeah.
There's this what was the plugin now? I can't remember except I searched for it. The one that animates vectors. So if you have a line of vector, it will animate it for you. I think that one also has a feature to copy um what's that animation? I think is it SVG animate? I don't know.
I've seen every just wait. Yeah.
I'm seeing it on your screen. That's what I'm even saying. If that's the reason for
It
it.
should, it could
There's
be.
one that it animates your vectors all together, especially if you have lines or so. It will just animate
Okay.
it, and then I think it has a feature to now copy it as JSON or copy it as Lottie file. So there are quite a number of
Okay.
plugins like that can allow you to copy some stuff that you can just send the code straight to develop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some platforms too, like this one that is shared now, this Lottie plugin. There's also some platform online that has animated assets on their own,
Yes.
and they have
Yes.
the feature for you to copy the code or copy it
Mm-hmm.
as a what do they call it?
JSON file.
JSON or there's this other one I can't remember. GIF.
GIF. Yeah. GIF.
Yes. So then you give it to the developer, and then
But developers right from the onset they want JSON file, so they can just pick it and drop it on their code base. That is what I see. They cause like the explanation I made mention earlier, they prefer JSON file because they can easily just pick it up from there, drop it on their code base, and it keeps running on their own side, rather than using GIF or using MP4.
yeah, and also some people use MP4 to just that MP4 might be heavy to use.
Yes, yes, Zevi,
And I think does
Zevi.
Figma not allow? Can you please check? Does Figma not allow us to export in GIF or WebPM?
I don't think so.
Can you check that
In
drop?
terms of exporting, in terms of exporting, it's PNG, PDF.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's PNG and PDF.
So maybe you can try any of those options
Okay.
first. I don't know if that will work for you.
Okay. Right. So, do you have any question?
Yes,
Okay.
somebody is raising their hand. Somebody raised up
Actually,
here.
I'm not on the view. I'm on
Okay,
a different
somebody has
page.
a
So, any
question.
question?
Ashiat, I don't know if I pronounce that well. Ashiat is saying, what is the importance of JSON file?
Okay. Uh, can anyone hear me?
Yes, did you hear the question I called? Abi, was I muted when I said it?
I think you're muted. I didn't
Oh, okay.
hear you.
Sorry. Ashiat. Somebody in the chat, Ashiat or Ashiat.
Okay.
She
Okay.
said, what is the
Okay.
importance of JSON file?
Importance of JSON file. First one, what is the JSON file? I think it's an acronym. I'm trying to remember the name of the acronym now. JSON file, JSON file. Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
I'm trying to,
It's what developers use
yeah.
every time. I'm trying to remember. Or the developers in the house can answer the question. I'm trying to remember the name now. Those are the developments. So, give me a moment.
Um, so JSON is an open standard file format and data interchange format that uses human readable text to store and transmit data. Where is it now? It has gone.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Like I said, it's an acronym. I know that.
Yeah, I'm
JSON is
even
an
trying to
acronym. The
see
name is JavaScript Object Notation.
the.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's
So
asking
that's
for
it.
the importance. So the Jason, oh sorry, go on, please, Ben.
Okay, so JSON by the acronym is called JavaScript Object Notation. So it's more like a text-based format for storing and exchanging structured data. Like for like this, what's the name now? For the animation I just did now, which is the image GIF, it's going to come up as a data, not really as that GIF that you're seeing there. So it's going to come in, it's going to be exported as a data where the developer now plug it onto their code base. And when they now preview it, it will now come in as a more like a CSS version. I'm speaking too much in development now. So so that is the essence of that file. Like I said, some when I ask for GIF, but developers don't ask for GIF, they ask for JSON because it is more like a data they pick. When they pick that data, they can easily plug it into their code base rather than just bringing GIF or MP4. So the importance of it is that it kind of help developers to just pull those information they have on the JSON file because it's not going to be an image, it's going to be a data. All this code-based data that developers use, will now drop it onto their own code base, plug it in, and that's what you're going to see being previewed outside. I hope that kind of answers your question to some extent. That's the question.
Yeah, Isha, did you get that? I also dropped a definition in the chat, and another importance of JSON is that it is lightweight. So it does,
Yeah,
developers care about how heavy their file is because it affects the website, how it loads up, it might load slow. So they make sure that it's not too heavily populated.
heavy. Yeah,
Yeah, so they try to use lightweight um, files in their code, and that's why some developers they prefer you give them link to the icons or link to the fonts. They'll just be calling it. They don't have to download all those stuff and put
exactly.
inside their code. So they'll just be calling the code directly. They are not the one hosting it. They're just calling directly from where it is originally being hosted, and then it will show on their platform. So that's um one of the importance of is lightweight. So they would like to use it instead of them downloading the animation and putting in the file because it could be heavy and it might take a lot of time to load.
To be honest, animations are heavy. Let me use that word. Animations are heavy. Only if you are like lightweight. So that's why you're using JSON file to pass those codes onto their database or their code base. Like MP4 can be like 30 seconds, thereabouts. And you know what that means? It now becomes so heavy on their own code base. So rather they just have to use JSON file, just drop it in there and pass the code. So that is much about it. Any other question?
Yes, chat. I
I've
hope
not
that
even-
cleared you.
I've not gone further.
Okay, I think we can proceed. I don't think there's any other question.
Okay. Uh, let's move ahead. I've shown about what's the word now? Annotations and the likes. So I think I will touch base on dev mode now. So what is dev mode? Dev mode is more or less like where every information about the particular screen is being uh, documented or being structured. So it's going to come in form of a development pattern. So I'm going to show an example. Let's use not use these images. Let's use this. When I click on this now, click on the frame itself, not the section. Click on the frame of particular page. Then come over here, you see here dev mode. So this dev mode is applicable for those that have professional plan. If you're using free plan, you won't see it. In short, Figma will prompt you to go and upgrade to professional. So because I, one way or another, have access to a particular file, I have to, now you can easily now access dev mode. So when you click on this now, you see this. I hope everyone is seeing this.
Yep.
Okay, so you see now that you see the codes. You see the code here. Width 375 pixels. It will break it down for you. So when a developer hits dev mode, they can see all their properties they want. Oh, the layout of the width of the screen is 375 width, height of 812, background color is white. Then other colors that were used on the pages are also included here. You see it here. Other colors that was used here are being included. Then we won't have the padding. So if I even move over here, you can see my measurements are now being showed up. 20, the padding of 20 and padding of another 20, that is left, right. Same thing here. Even as far as this, it won't give you a measurement. The text, other information there, you just see everything on it. Now, if I'm coming over to code, this is for code. Now, for listing, we have list here. You just have the width of 375, the height, top, left. You see it there. Then for code, now for listing, now I can even change this now to rem. So developers work with rem. They work with rem. I learned this earlier in my own career that the developers use most of their own terminology, rem, and rather than even pixels. So if I move this to rem now, because it's a unit for their codes. Now look at this, rem 234. Let me go back to coding. If you move it to rem now, you see that I have the width of 23.4375 rem. Same thing here, 59.25. So now, how do we get it? One rem is 16 pixels. One rem is 16 pixels. So we need to do a little math here. Do a little math on the other side, and you get for like this now, we have 375. 375 pixels, 1 pixels, 16 rem. 375 pixels is equals to what? So you can do your math by yourself and find out what the actual rem for the width and the height is for the layout. And so that is much about this. Yeah.
We can switch the code part. Is it the code? Yeah, the code part.
Yes.
You can also switch between CSS and other languages that they want to see. Can you show that?
Yes, exactly. You can also switch to. We have CSS now. Okay, I'm using iOS here. Figma change this. I'm only saying CSS. Figma change this.
Change it because you can see Tailwind. You can see some other stuff.
I'm saying Swift UI here. Aha, you can see all this now. Swift UI. This is more for developers per se. It's not for developers. We have UI kits somewhere.
So it does it gives them the precise code they need for.
Exactly. So you see, what again? On Android, XML, you see it.
I think it's because you are working on a mobile.
I'm working on mobile, yes.
Yeah, maybe that's why it's showing you this. Because I know there used to be more options.
I'm just seeing CSS. Anyway, I'm working on mobile. That is why you're seeing that. Okay, let me click on this screen now. All right. So that is much about this. Swift UI, Android, XML, CSS. Also, they won't provide you plugins. Stack, Token Studio, Figma to Code, and so on and so forth. So that's for dev mode. So this is where developers can easily just scan your your pages. Oh, this spacing here, 16. Here, 16. Spacing here, 16. The title, you click on the text. When you click on the text, you see this. You see the font family, font size, 14 pixels, font style, normal, font weight, 400, line height, 20. You can see all the specifications are there. So what the developer will just copy it and just do it, put it on their own code base. As simple as that. Once again, colors, you can see we have the color here, arrow red, interbody, and so on and so forth. Now, if I should move this now to, this was CSS now. Okay. Yeah. So now let's talk about this text now. I click on it, you see this. It will show the color. So this is what I was speaking about earlier in the session about specification. It shows you every information about even a text, input field, any information is being, it shows you on the dev mode. Now you can see this typography now, grade 300, font family, font size, 16 pixels. When a developer sees this, they can even just copy from here. It's copied without transferring to their VS Code. Simple as that. So for colors, this is it also. I think they can also copy it. Yeah, you can copy it. I see they won't show you the style. It shows you the style too. You can copy it and it drops them onto their own code base. So that is really about dev mode. So dev mode, more or less specifically for developers, because when they turn it on, they can easily proofread all your designs from the text here down to the last information, and they use the exact specification that's been highlighted here on their own code base. So that is one of the key areas for handoff, using dev mode. So that is for it. Any question here? I'm thinking I'll be soon rounding off. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Any question here? Yeah, property. CSS. So any question on this?
No, why is it? Why? No, it does not look appropriate.
Any question?
Does anybody have a question? Do we all get it?
Do you understand that, or should I go over it again?
Okay, when there's silence, it means there is no question.
Okay, let's continue. So I'm going to show something now. It's about red lines. Yeah, red lines. Now, at the point in time also, apart from the use of annotations, apart from naming your frame and so on and so forth, you can also draw a red line. What do I mean by drawing a red line? In which you can show them how the flow is supposed to look like. Note, developers, they seldomly look at your prototype. Let me use that word. Because their focus here is on looking at the UI, looking at the interface, and now picking elements here and there and implementing it on their own code base. So you need to ensure that you draw a kind of arrows around so that you can for easy navigation on the design. Now, let me use this as an example. Now, let's assume that I have transactions here and I have this text. You can use an arrow to draw it down so that you know that, oh, when a user clicks on this card, they are coming over to transaction history. Transaction detail, I mean. They go to transaction detail. When the user clicks on see all, they are going over to view all the recent transactions that have been created. Now, there's a plugin I use Autoflow as a plugin for this. So I'm going to check on the plugin. The name is called Autoflow. Okay. So now I'm going to pick this. All right. The Autoflow makes me to pick a page, but I want to pick a subsection. Aha. So this is what I'm looking at. Hope you can see this. This is what I'm talking about. So it kind of my flow should not be here. The flow should be strong. Let me take it out. I'm going to draw it. Use a normal arrow stuff to just draw this so that you can easily understand that. Where is it? Okay. I draw a line. Draw a line somewhere. Well, let me retain that what I did. It's Autoflow for it. Okay. Yeah, something like this. Well, the focus should be on this card because I made this as a frame and I think I can't move from frame to frame. Yeah. So something like this in question. When the user taps on this card, it's supposed to come over, or taps on the CL, I mean, supposed to go over to this transaction history. Now, you can also add a note to this also, so that developers also know that they're expected to, add a note here, expected to now development. So we can tell them that when a user tab, they should navigate, or okay, just use a word around it, should navigate to transaction history. That's a note. Additional note again for this. Now, when a user taps on the card, they should see a detailed transaction info, or detailed info of the transaction. Let me use that word. Detailed information of their transaction. Yeah. So when you draw the red line or the arrow, you can also add annotation to it that, oh, when user taps on the card, they should see a detailed information of their transaction. Likewise, this, when I click on see all, I should be able to see this likewise. So that is literally how it should be. Now let me see if I can tap on this. Give me Autoflow. So Autoflow. This again and this. Okay. See this. So you can see this. Yeah. So let me see if I can move it further down a little bit. I should be able to move it now. Yeah, something like this. Something like this. So when I click on the card, so when you're showing them this now, on the mind of the developer, they know that, oh, when I click on this card, I'm seeing this information in detail. So that is the essence of having those red lines, those arrows, just to give further guide for the developers. Yes, for that guide for the developers. Okay, so now I'm going to touch base on something. I spoke about edge cases, state, and the rest of them. Now, if you look at this now, I deliberately left it like this because I want to show you how you can include other states, especially when it comes to error state and the rest of them. Now, on a normal, let me increase this. Take this off somewhere. Put this somewhere here. Okay. Now, for those that logs in or sign up to a particular platform, you always have an error state somewhere on design. Now, if you look at this now, there's no error state. We have an unfilled state presently here. And if I'm going to fill this information now, I'm going to change the color from something around maybe a black color here. Put in my number, 8023161070. Then email address, changing this to something around 800 with my email address. Sorry, let me all caps. Gmail.com. Now, password, same thing. This for a field state now. This for a field state. Presently, I didn't make them as components. If I should make them a component, you see how it would go. So now let me make this as 800. Yep. Enter my password. Let me use *****. Okay. Yeah. Make this as another component. Yeah. So now, if I'm to now have an error state, it's very simple. Duplicate this, or let me leave this. Yeah. Duplicate this. So you're not going to have it in a red format. This will turn to red. I'm going to make it. Let's see the red color I have. Okay, let's use this. Yeah, this will turn to red. Red. Likewise, this. This turn to red. Red 200. Right. So this automatically shows you the error state. Other times they can also add information underneath it to showcase that, oh, the password is incorrect, or the password needs blah 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 blah. Some little helper text to guide this particular information. So this is how naturally an error state. So you need to showcase this as much as possible when you're designing. Should the error state, should the maybe the typing stage and the rest of them. So now let's use this now and do this as the form of a component. Okay, so let me duplicate this. For this now, error state, red 200, red is heavy. Okay. Okay, so this, then we'll have for 600 or 800, let's use 800 now. The field state, maybe, yeah, something like this. So if you make this as component, it's very simple. Just tap on it, tap on this, tap on this, tap on this. I'll come here and make them as component sets, and voila, can now rename them. Okay, this property 1. Give a new name for this to be error. Okay, then give this to be empty state. Change it to empty state. Empty. And this should be error. Hold on. This is error. Oh, this can be error. I don't know. So this should be as a field state. So the field state here will have a different color this time around. Maybe a black color just to indicate that it's active. So we have another variable. What's the name I included here? Let me rename it. So rename this file to MP field. Okay, MP field works. So I'm going to get the variant for it. Okay, field. Yeah. So now I'm using email address now. So let me take this in. Okay, got that. So here, let me replace it now. So here now, I can just come here, change it to error state. Come here, change it to field state. So for MP field, like so sometimes your MP field are kind of a constant. You're going to be using the
Um, Hi Ben, can you hear me?
using them. That is, I think. Any question? I think that should be much about this. If I'm missing anything. Okay. I think that should be much about that. Any question?
Any question, guys? Thank you. Any question from anybody? Nana, Ashiat, Ekemini, Faith. Any question? Okay. It means that there are no questions. Okay. So it means there are no questions. Okay. So this you have things to show or you want to round up? Hi Ben. Ben, can you hear me? I think Ben has network issue. Okay. I think Ben has network issue, so I hope somebody has learned something new today, right? Did anybody learn something new today? We are rounding up already. I think Ben has shared everything that he wants to share with us today. So, has anybody like, does anybody want to share with us maybe one thing that you learned in today's class that is new for you? Something new that you learned in today's class. Hi, Nana.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
I think I think one thing is the use of annotations and also renaming your frames very well. I think it's very important. It communicates a lot. So that's what I'm really taking home today. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I think I might have a question now.
Okay.
So I was thinking, you see, usually Notion is mentioned as part of the handoff tools and all that. I don't know if there's a specific example you can give about how it is actually used. If you can just enlighten me a bit.
Okay. So for me, I see Notion as a for documentation, right? You know how we document, like if you create components, you can document them. There's this thing we call design system, right? Like everybody knows. Some people document their design system in Notion. So when they create the design system, they take screenshots of it and put the specification, what it's meant to do, how it's meant to work, like, do you get,
Okay.
in the
Okay.
Notion? Yes. And then that's
Yeah.
how to use it. So that's what
Okay. Okay.
I know how to use Notion for when it comes to like handing off, because the developers, they want to know why we are using this asset. What is this asset used for? You know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Faith, do you want to share with us anything new that you learned in this class before we go? Are you still there? Okay. So I think Ben really has a network issue because he has just been kicked off. Eshat, do you want to share something? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right though. All right then. If that's the case, thank you all for joining today's class. I don't have any other addition. I've shared my additions in the before we enter the practical session. So I'd like us to implement some of the things that we got from this class: the use of the plugins, the handing off, use of the JSON, sharing of external links to developers, you know, and the likes, naming our layers, creating responsive designs, and documenting our design system is very important, or style guide, like either style guide or this design system, whichever one that you can relate with. So thank you so much. Ekemini, are you there? Do you want to share something? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Ben, so I'm going to share the recording. I'm going to share the recording. Oh, Ben is back. Hi,
My
Ben.
sincere, my sincere apologies, guys. Our network has become problematic. Let me use that word. Sorry for that. I had to just switch network.
Oh,
Okay. Let me continue from where I
oh,
stopped.
oh, you
Okay.
still have things to
This is the
share.
last one.
Wow. I didn't know you still
Okay.
have things to
Yes,
share. Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
rounded off. Network threw me out of the platform. I don't know
Oh,
why.
see me thinking
MTN
I've shared
and
everything.
Collabo.
Okay, people are still here though. I was already rounding up for you.
Okay, what are you running up for me? Go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead,
No, I was already
go
telling them
ahead.
like thank you, rounding off everything. So, but you can quickly share the
Okay,
other things that you have to share.
okay. Let me just put a cap to this so I don't delay everyone. It's 7 p.m. already. So, as much as possible, guys, please connect. No problem, no problem. Okay, guys, don't get me distracted. Okay, let me continue. Okay, so for handoff, please, as much as possible, let's communicate, let's collaborate. The forces are very important. Clarity is important, context is important, communication is important, collaboration is important. I think I was sharing an experience earlier of my communication with developers on the product I was designing. Though I've done the design already, but recently we're seeing the implementation stage and even in the QA testing at the moment. So during that period, communication with the developers were coming in and coming back and forth, so that they don't turn my good looking design to a watching pussy that will not eat on the long run, or that user will not eat on the long run. So that was one of the key areas I noticed, and communication became consistent. Now, please. So communication became consistent. So as a designer here, be it a newbie, be it aspiring, be it entry level, be it senior level, mid level, please communicate. Don't chicken out. Don't ghost on your developers. Ensure that they do exactly of what you have on the design file. Also, give them walkthroughs. She said something about screen recording, demo sessions, ensure you give them a walkthrough. Also, if you're working with an organization or startup, if they share an APK, please text it also. Yes, some organizations have a QA tester, but you yourself that design it, test it yourself and see if there's any errors of any kind. It should be what you have on file. Board. Now, when you're done with the handoff, like I said, don't just go and hold your neck. So as much as possible, follow them bumper to bumper so that they don't turn the the US entirely. So I'm glad that most of you have learned one or two things and keep this. Designing, let's quickly to your client. If you're working in an organization or startup, please let that communication be in sync and collaboration. Like I said, a project or an application are not done in silos, are done with a collaborative effort. Because when there's a collaboration, you see that the functionality, the application that you yourself have designed, you'll be proud of it in the long run. Can we share it on LinkedIn? I've designed XYZ application, and you can even beat your chest that yes, I designed it, and the developer even implemented it word to word, verbatim. So I think this is where I'll draw the curtain. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you very much. That was a good round of. Can you hear me? I think it's my network that is misbehaving now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So thank God he came back right in time. I would have sent everybody off. Oh, but that was a good round of. I think his network is still bad. Ben, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you.
All
I
right.
think I could not hear you earlier.
Okay. So thank you so much, Ben, for doing this with us. We really appreciate all the time and effort you put into putting all of this together. God bless you. And I'm sure everybody has learned one or two things too, right? Before you came, people were sharing the stuff that they learned. Aishat is asking how to use Figma site. Just go to Google and type Figma. You can use the web version or you
But
download it.
go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and
Yeah.
search for Figma site. There's some updates that Figma did. You can go to YouTube and check them out. YouTube and check them out. Be be an ardent learner.
Mm.
Thank God we have AI now. Go and check around. Hmm?
Just go to
Check
YouTube
around.
also
Thank you.
and just search for whatever it is, how to use whatever, and then you'll see options, and then you'll be able to use it.
Exactly. Use Figma site. And
Mm.
I know a lot of instructors already publish
Yeah,
one or
I have not seen it though. I've not seen
two
it on my own
snippet here and there,
Figma.
so you can get
Do you have it on your
uh,
own Figma yet, Ben?
Figma site.
Yeah.
I think I saw it on my company site. Too.
Oh,
I saw that on my company too. So,
if,
uh,
I don't see it on my own
my
account.
company are working on professional stuff. So, uh, but it's still, I think it's still on the tar Figma site. It's on a better version. If so.
Okay.
Better version. I think you have to pay for it. That's what I heard. I'm not too sure. You might have to pay for it.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you guys for joining. We had a great session. I mean, it was really nice. And the tea is really nice. Speaking with all of you again. So, like I was saying, I'm going to drop the recording in the group chat. So you might want to hang around a bit, and then you also, if you hang around, you'll be able to get updates about our next session. All right. Recently, or usually, actually, I would have told you what the next session is, but right now, I don't know what the next session is. The spirit has not brought it. Okay, so 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 hang in there.
Ah.
Also, if you're on the group, or if you've been on the group for a while, and there's a topic you want us to touch on, you can drop it in the group chat, and then we'll see the highest votes. Then we'll treat it. All right. Thank you all. Have a good evening. God bless you.